and welcome back to RPMbassy. So I've not been here for a couple of weeks now. Today's video is on a band I completely forgot about. Not forgot about, but I was sorting my records out and I came across their albums and I've just been listening to all day and thought, right, I'm going to do a video on this. The band I'm talking about is Japan. I have spoke about a couple of their albums. I think there's been in my top 20, or, things like that. But for those who don't know, Japan were formed in 1974 in Catford in South London, for those that don't know. I didn't know to do this research. Now, the album I'm talking about is Quiet Life, this album here, which was the third studio album by Japan, and it was first released on the 7th of December 1979 in Canada, Japan, and the Netherlands only. Got to get that right. And then it was released on the 18th of January in the UK. The album was a transition from the glam rock influence style because, this album initially was slow when it sold. Quiet Life was the band's first album to chart and was later certified gold for sales of in excess of 100,000 records. A little bit of kind of a background on this. They did a standalone single, Life in Tokyo, which is a massive track just before this. With Giorgio Moroder. The guy's a god, anything he touches. But they didn't choose to work with Giorgio Moroder on this album, which I find kind of, that's weird because he was just great. Because it was a dramatic shift from the most guitar-driven kind of glam rock, if you had the first two albums, with elements of kind of electronica. But they just didn't feel Moroder was right choice to produce this full album. So the early material for this album considered and dropped, including proposed track European Sun, which appeared on Assemblage, I think was the release after this, which was almost like a compilation. But that would have been great on this album, would have fitted in perfect, European Sun. The band wanted John Punter, who was the producer for Roxy Music, but he wasn't available at the time for this, so they kind of waited for him. And in the meantime, they worked with Simon Napier-Bell, who was the manager for Japan. They kind of worked on the kind of pre-stuff. And then when John Punter was available, they got in the studio and he produced this album. Consider you listen to the tracks on this. He's an amazing producer. Producing Roxy Music, which are one of the best bands in the world. But a lot of these tracks are quite different in style. But he's managed to kind of merge and create a coherent album with this. So I'm quite impressed with this, especially if you listen to stuff Japan did before. It's almost like there's no kind of crossover style. They've just gone for this style here, and it's nice and coherent. The first album to kind of have a lot of this stuff, other than the standalone single for Life in Tokyo. I'm not sure that appeared on any album. I know it did appear on Assemblage, but remember that was like a compilation. With the exception of All Tomorrow's Parties, which were recorded during the early sessions of Quiet Life in summer 1979 at DJM Studios in London, this whole album was recorded in September 79 at Air Studios and mastered the 5th of November at Trident Studios. And I always like mentioning the studios because a lot of my kind of favourite albums, a lot of the albums that you may like, or some of the classic albums, there always seems to be this small group of studios that they've been producing or mastered in. And this is one of them. It's such a great sound. If you haven't heard it, you need to check this out. If you're a fan of Japan, guaranteed you're going to love this album. It's just such a great, really good produced, real good mastering on this, a real nice coherent album. And the tracks are just the way they're kind of sequenced. It's something I spoke about in a previous video where I was saying the sequence of tracks is so important. When we finished that last album, I was probably there for about 2 weeks trying to get the sequence right. And here they got it right. It starts off with Quiet Life, Fall in Love, Despair, In Vogue. Then you've got Halloween, All Tomorrow's Parties, Alien, and The Other Side of Life. I'm sure All Tomorrow's Parties did come out as a single. I'm going to do some research on that. But when I did research the album, it was literally just Quiet Life. Because Quiet Life, it was released as a single only in Japan in 1979 and in Germany and the Netherlands in 1980. In other countries, including the band's native UK, Hansa chose to promote the album with a standalone single, I Second That Emotion, which to me I thought was a massive hit, but according to Wikipedia, it wasn't that big a hit. But they put Quiet Life on the B-side, so that must be where I've heard it first, before I bought the album. Neither single was commercially successful. 18 months later, in line with the band's increase in popularity and media profile, Hansa released Quiet Life as an A-side single in the UK and Ireland in August 1981, with the instrumental A Foreign Place as the B-side. And it reached number 19 in the charts, which is great. But I always remember the first, either seeing them first time on Top of the Pops is either with Ghosts or I Second That Emotion, one of the two. Ghosts, I mean, what a track. We're going to do another video on that at some point because that is just incredible. The people that are involved with this album, I mean, they're just complete gods. I mean, you had David Sylvian on lead vocals, guitar and production, Rob Dean on guitar, you had Richard Barberi on synthesizers, you have Mick Karn, who's an absolute god. If you've not heard his solo album, I think he's only done one solo album, his first solo album, incredible. I mean, he's just a genius. Bass, backing vocal, saxophone, flute, the guy's a genius. And then you have Steve Jansen on drums, backing vocals, percussion and production. It's just, the band are just incredible. I mean, the artwork's just incredible. David Sylvian looking all kind of definitely new romantic with his little kind of leather jacket on and, the makeup. And, they were doing this a lot earlier than the new romantic scene, because initially the first two albums were definitely kind of glam rocky. A bit punky in bits as well. So we're going to do a video on them as well, the first two albums. Maybe what I should do is 5 Diamonds and a Dud. The back, you've got Mick Karn. He always just looks so good. I mean, I think we all try to copy his haircut. And then inside, you don't have anything, but I know other releases of this as well. You've got the other band members inside. Also, quite recently, a couple of years ago, they did release the box set of this, which I am going to be getting, and I will do another video on that. I think you get a CD, you get like a live stuff, you get more photos from the shoot for this album. But I will be getting kind of doing another video on the box set. So if you're new to Japan, this is definitely a good start. If you want to get into Japan and know what they're all about, it's definitely the album to kind of check out. Because from here, it just goes insane. We're definitely going to do a video on assemblage, even though it's strictly a compilation. We're still going to do that because there was a lot of standalone singles on that as well. So we're going to do that. Just like when we did The Cure, Japanese Whispers, I always thought that was a standalone. It wasn't. It was a compilation again. So we're definitely going to be doing assemblies. We're going to be doing things like Tin Drum or on Canvas. So we're going to do a lot more on Japan. And when I get the box set of this, I'll also do the video on this. And also, for those who do collect records, the list for Record Store Day 2025 has just been released. And there are so many gems on that. Okay. So I will be doing a lot of videos. There's a lot of stuff on there I want. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. It's out now. There's some really good bits on there. Get your list together of your wants, because there's a lot of wants on there for me. Okay. Anyway, that was Japan. Quiet Life. Check it out. More videos to come on Japan, because I absolutely love them. But this is a great album to start from if you don't know Japan. Okay. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.